しもし。
Our planet consists of different amazing places. These places are consist of different ecosystems. Each one is home of many different living organisms. Each with regions consist of different types of species that were surely amazing. So what are we waiting for? Let's understand and explore. Each ecosystems. Biomes. And know about the species. Hi guys, today we're going to talk about ecosystems. You know, ecosystems are very cool, right? So what is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is an environment where living and non-living organisms interact with each other. An ecosystem is also an outdoor environment. Well, we've just said that in an ecosystem, living and non-living things interact with each other. You might be wondering what are examples of living and non-living things that interact in an ecosystem. Well, living things like animals and plants interact with non-living things, such as the weather and the soil. Together, they make up a very special place called an ecosystem. Here are some things about the ecosystem. They can be small, medium, and large. It all depends as long as it's an environment where living and non-living things interact with each other. So you might be wondering, is everything in our surrounding a part of our ecosystem? Yes, it is. An ecosystem could be anything like a small pond to a large ocean. An ecosystem can be broadly classified into two types, the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem. From the term terrestrial, we can easily say that it is associated with the land-based ecosystem, and the aquatic deals with all water-based ecosystem. Let us look at each of them and understand their classifications. But before that, let's talk about what is biomes. This is closely related to the classifications of the terrestrial ecosystem and the aquatic ecosystem, their classification on each regions. So first, let's talk about what is biomes. A biome is a large-scale ecosystem. Its climate and the plants and animals adapted to living in the climate are what make it different from other biomes. A climate zone is a region in which yearly patterns of temperature, rainfall, and the amount of sunlight are similar throughout the region. On Earth, there is an invisible line known as the equator. It divides the northern and southern hemisphere. The map you can see is very unique in the fact that there are many colors displayed all over the Earth. What does this mean? Well, each color represents different biome and a different climate where plants and animals have adapted to survive. There are 6 types of biomes found on Earth. They can be found at different locations all over the earth. Biomes varies in rainfall and climates. There are also unique types of organisms living in each biomes. So now that you understand what is biome, let's proceed to the classifications of terrestrial ecosystem and aquatic ecosystem. First, let's talk about the terrestrial ecosystem classifications. These are the types of classification based on terrestrial ecosystem. First, let's talk about the forest ecosystem. It consists of many trees, different plants, herbs, and a host of a large variety of animals, birds, reptiles, and insects. Here, the living and non-living factors coexist. Coming from the grassland, why do you think it is called grassland? Yes, you guessed right. Here, the vegetation is mainly dominated by grass, and like forest, we don't find trees here. Different animals and insects inhabits this region. Next is the desert ecosystem, a hot and a dry region which receives scanty rainfall and mostly barren lands. If you compare with forest, the variety of plants and animals are not found here. Only the plants like cactus, animals like camel are found in this region, who can withstand the climate here. Talking about the tundra ecosystem, this region is rich with varieties of trees and found in cold climatic regions. The regions are covered with ice most of the time. The plants and animals in this region are adapted to survive in extreme cold. This is all about the terrestrial ecosystem. Let's now explain the aquatic ecosystem. We all know that there are two types of water based on salt concentration. Even the ecosystem are classified based on the same. Can you guess them? Yes! They are the marine and freshwater ecosystem. The marine ecosystem contains higher salt concentration in water that includes sea and ocean. They have a wide variety of organisms present in it. The freshwater ecosystem has a lesser salt concentration in the water. It includes rivers, ponds, lakes, and streams. The variety of organisms are comparatively lesser. So guys, this is all about what is ecosystem and its classification and how it differs from each region. So now, let's proceed to the next topic, which is called species. Here, we're going to talk about what is a species and how species are created. 18th century naturalist Carl Linnaeus used the word species to describe the group of very similar organisms. Linnaeus was interested in classifying all living things, and he came up with a system of grouping organisms and identifying the relationships between them based on their physical features. This system placed organisms with the most similar characteristics together and grouped them called species. This set of species group was then incorporated into every large group based on shared physical features, right up to the level of kingdom. Domain, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. A species is defined as organisms that are able to breed with one another and produce fertile offspring. Horses are one of its examples. All breeds of horse, including ponies, can make and produce fertile offspring. However, horses and donkeys may mate, yet their offspring might not be fertile. Horses and donkeys are placed in different species of group even though they're closely related with one another. The species group is accepted as the smallest unit of biological classification, and it's always given with Greek or Latin name. In horses, its name is Spheros, while in donkey, the species name is Young. Both species belong in larger group or genus known as Agos. Both species evolved through the process of natural selection from the common ancestor called Ecos simplicados, or also known as Hangerman horse. Emergence of new species from an existing one happens as a result of natural selection. This process is called speciation. Some scientists believe that speciation occurs continuously over a long period of time, while others believe that speciation occurs only rarely and a relatively short burst, sometimes as a result of a dramatic environmental event. Example, an speciation event happened on North America in the 19th century. At that time, hawthorn flies traditionally laid eggs on hawthorn fruit, which were then eaten by newly hatched maggots. Sometime after the introduction of non-native apple trees, a new hawthorn fly was recorded which laid its eggs on apples. Over time, this new hawthorn fly stopped laying eggs on hawthorn flower in favor of apples. This new fly is called the apple maggot fly. Human beings can directly influence or even potentially cause speciation. A program of selective breeding of livestock over several years linked to the creation of non-domestic sheep or Ovis arius, which is unable to produce fertile offspring when mated with the Ovis orientalis, the species from which it is descended. Guys, this is all about species and how it is created.
So for this video, thank you and God bless guys!